Welcome, everyone, to the Holstein House podcast. I'm the West Virginia woman, Robin, of RobinHolstein.com and Holstein House, where my guests get a great night's sleep at a fair rate plus breakfast. This is a podcast that looks at society and culture issues affecting families in West Virginia and the United States, from food preparation and storage, gardening, home repairs, current events, and more. We'll go around the table and back in 60 minutes or less. So let's hang out and talk a while. Good morning. Good morning. How are you? I hope you're better than I am this morning. I tell you what, it's just been a very difficult, 10 hours, 12 hours. No, 12 hours would be 10 o'clock last night. 14 hours or so. No, it wasn't all night. It wasn't all night, but let me put this in here. Good afternoon, Ronaldo. Excuse me while I get settled. It's been a challenging morning for me already. Only because, well, I tried to fix the church furnace. I didn't break anything, but what we tried, it didn't work. But I'll get to that here in a little bit. Glad to have everybody joining me this morning. I hope volume's good. This laptop hates being down here in the bunker. So, there's Bob. Bob the dog has come down to the bunker. He heard me talking. Go lay down, Bob the dog. Go lay down. Go lay down. And it has locked up on me several times in the last couple of days since I brought it down here. I'm thinking it's because I have wireless keyboards, 2 different sets, because I got 2 different machines here, and maybe they're all conflicting. I don't know, because it didn't do that before. So that might be it. I moved my little wireless receivers to the other side of the laptop, and hopefully that'll work fine. I know the hard drive's kind of full, but it's I've been moving some stuff off there, so that really shouldn't be it, but who knows? Who knows? If it locks up, I'll try to get back. but if it locks up and I don't get back after about 2 or 3 minutes, we'll see you the next time. So good morning again, and welcome to the Holstein House, YouTube and podcast. This is actually the 47th episode, coming up hard on 50. Hopefully I'll get to 50. So that would be next week, a week from Friday. And I want to do the giveaway then. So spread the word, let everybody know that we'll do a giveaway. And you have to be on here because of the way it's gonna work. The StreamYard giveaway tool, you're gonna have to be here. So we want to do that. It's for episode 50. It's a little giveaway, just a couple ceramic cup, an enamel cup, and a t-shirt with the Holstein House logo, and it'll be fun. You should be here. You should be here, if at all possible, because I know some of you guys can't. We're premiering, I don't think I said this the last couple times, we're premiering on the Fountain Network, but it's also available on it's supposed to be available on Apple and Google and Podbean. Well, I know it's on Podbean because I use Podbean, Spotify and Amazon and TuneIn and iHeart, and most of them have got it. So if you're on, I hope if you're on the YouTube, click thumbs up for me. That helps those algorithms and stuff. If you're on Fountain, I hope you can find something worth boosting. The value for value exchange set up there. I really enjoy that. It's really kind of fun, and it does help keep the spammers away. So I know that generally people who comment are sincere in their comments. Now, I do have my one little fella, Aphrodymix, that I mentioned before. It's a fountain handle. Aphrodymix, Afrothymix. That person, I usually say he. I was brought up that he is a neutral pronoun, and it's just the way I speak. And, if you don't like it, You didn't have to listen. But he left a snarky little comment, but he did leave several thousand sats, and so said he'd be back later. And I decided, well, I just use his name as a promotional code in my Etsy shop. So you can see in the show notes Afro the Mix, and there's a link down there to the Etsy shop. And through the 31st of March 2023, you'll get 5% off your total order. So that is a promotional thing too. We also have a promotion because March is my anniversary month. My husband and I, Mr. Holstein, were married 22 years ago on St. Patrick's Day. And it was, it's St. Patrick's Day. It wasn't actually chosen because it was St. Patrick's Day. It was chosen because it was the Saturday of spring break, and we could get married, and we were in college and all that stuff. So, but the way it felt. But the promotional code for now, this is for direct book guests to Holstein House BNB. The promotional code is ANNI10, ANNI10. They get you 10% off your stay on top of the regular coffee and chocolate or one of the other little promotionals that we offer there. And that's direct book only. It's not Airbnb. So that only works until, today's the last day. So you either book today or that goes away. So you had to do that so that you could stay tomorrow. So if you don't get booked today, you'll have to wait till the next promotional. Is that all I need to do first? I do have a few books listed on Amazon. I very seldom talk about them, and I really should, because, how are you going to know to buy them if I don't talk about them? And I'm really bad about self-promotion. I just don't do it very well at all. I do have a couple of books. I have one called Everyday Upcycle, which is a compilation of some articles that I wrote for a West Virginia magazine. I guess it's called a magazine. It's it's a magazine. Well, it was a magazine for about 10 years. I wrote for a couple years, and Everyday Upcycle, it's on Amazon. The links are in the show notes. Lists about 15 different upcycle projects that you can do. The photos are all mine, all the projects are mine, the writing is mine, it's all mine. I also wrote one called Nursery Rhymes Grandma Told Me, and it's just as it sounds. It's a book of nursery rhymes. I've got a 25 favorite home cook recipes out there, which is, again, it's all my images and all my recipes. And then my original book, the first one I ever wrote, was published in 2010. It was called Think Outside the Office. Think Outside the Office. It's kind of outdated now because obviously that was 13 years ago, and some of the information in it is not current, but it's out there if you wanted to see it. It was the book I wrote when I started my company, Robin's Desktop, and at the time, now I call myself an administrative consultant, but at the time I was using the phrase virtual administrative professional, and I was doing, offsite, work at the time for companies, and in the ahead of my time, I guess you could say, because the Rona times put everybody working virtually from home, and I was doing it 10 years before that. So, and there's my Etsy site, and in the show notes, there's links to a bunch of other stuff. Sound and video. Does that mean my sound and video is bad? Oh no, it says 100%. I'm sorry, I didn't. I'm struggling with I have a terrible headache this morning, and my eyes are not focusing. If I was younger, I'd have called it a migraine, but it's not that bad. I've had migraines before, and I wouldn't be sitting here if I had a migraine. Popping in to say hi from Renegade Butcher. Can't hang around long, juggling phone calls. Gotcha. Understand. Do you do much with QuickBooks? I use QuickBooks, but I am not a bookkeeper, so I don't do accounting work. You don't want me doing your accounting work. I am not very good with keeping my QuickBooks. I do QuickBooks online, and I have a CPA that does our taxes, so I send that off to them. but she has access. I granted her access to the QuickBooks, and the headache's probably your fault. It's not your fault, and I'll get into that in a little bit for people who might be listening and not understand, or who may catch this later and not understand. It's not your fault, but you may have contributed to it a little bit. So, good morning, Hunter. It's good to see you. And Renegade, I'm going to talk about your seasoning mix here in a little bit. I'm going to knock a couple things out of the way first. So let's see. Oh yeah. So the giveaway, you guys, don't forget. That's going to be on the 31st. It should be my 50th episode, and we're going to use the fountain giveaway tool to do that. It'll be fun. It'll be fun. You know, you want a tin coffee cup that says Holstein House on it. You know you want that. You know you want that T-shirt. So anyway. I was just kind of teasing just a little bit. I did buy, and I have done a YouTube. If you haven't seen it yet, there is a YouTube up. There's a link in the notes, or there will be a link in the notes when I get this fixed. I don't think it's in there yet. I'll fix it here in a little bit because I just kind of put a generic description in there. Nicole has been having QuickBook issues and was stuck and asking the other day for some advice because the video tutorials confused. I might be able, I mean, it's possible that I have, because I've used QuickBooks, I might be able, I don't know. I'll have to go look and see. I didn't see that. I don't see all of hers, but I will look and see if, you mean Nicole Sauce, I guess. I think, because that's the only Nicole I know, unless you're talking about somebody else. It's possible that I know the answer because I've used it. It was an excellent video. Much appreciated. Oh, yeah. So, he's jumping. Josh is jumping me around here. I'm not in control of my own show, but that's what you do. And we do that every now and again in the mornings, don't we? So I ordered, Josh Renegade Butcher, and I will have links to his stuff in the show notes too. He does custom blend seasonings for meats and cooking and things like that. And he's a butcher for real. And I ordered the sugar-free breakfast blend that he makes for sausage. And he also sent me is it Rooster? It's not Rooster Dust. What's it called? Rooster something. Anyway, I haven't used it yet. But I used the sugar-free sausage mix in some sausage over the weekend and fixed it, and it was delicious. He uses stevia instead of white table sugar or anything like that. Rooster Dust. Yeah, there you go, Rooster Dust. And it really had a nice balance of the sweet with the stevia and the sage. I am not a big sage fan in anything, whether it's stuffing mix, whether it's sausage or whatever. A lot of the store-bought stuff has too much sage for me, but this was really well balanced. I was really pleased with it. Did a video on it. Josh already clipped and made a short out of it for his, and I looked at that and I thought, why didn't I do that? Why didn't I make that little short? I'm not a short person that way. It's tough for me to clip stuff and make shorts. But I'm going to do the Rooster Dust. I do have some chicken in the refrigerator that I need to can, cook, freeze, all of those things. I wanted to get to this week. I've got to get to it this week or it'll go bad. And I'm going to try the Rooster Dust on it, and I'll do the same. I'll do the same. If it's good, it's good. If it's not, I'll take. Now, I'm tough when it comes to the spicy stuff. I don't care much for spice, but it could be very good to other people and not to me. So don't get too excited. But it was very good, and I did do a little review. Well, it was kind of it wasn't just a review. I went through all the steps of making it the night before, and then patting it out, putting it and cooking it with some eggs and stuff, and it was really good. It was really, really good, and I recommend that you touch base with Josh Renegade Butcher. about those things. And again, his contact information is in the show notes for that. I'm going to talk a little bit. I had an Airbnb guest, and this was technically an Airbnb guest because he booked through Airbnb. And I didn't have any problem with that. The biggest thing about Airbnb is it takes a bite of whatever you're making. So if I'm billing $50, they're going to take a couple bucks out of there. It's kind of a balance. They are promoting in a way because they're well known and people are searching that site, and I'm taking up, a little bit of space on their servers and stuff and all the behind the scene tech stuff associated with booking and payments and all that stuff. So I kind of don't mind it, but I do have a direct book option, which I prefer because I can keep the rate lower. I can offer better things to my direct book customers. My Airbnb people, they get treated very well. I mean, the room's clean, the sheets are clean and fresh, and everything's sanitized. And you get a breakfast with some coffee and some bagels and some English muffins and bread and things and juice and milk. And I mean, just about anything. And fresh fruit, always have fresh fruit on the table. This guy, there's nothing wrong with the guy. I don't want to leave that impression. But he booked, and after he books, he asked me if he can charge his electric vehicle. And that threw me into a discussion with Mr. Holstein about how to charge people for that and whether to charge people for that. And he was our first electric vehicle guest. And I mean, it was a very simple. I've toyed with this before. I've toyed with doing this before, and I hadn't really come up with the good way to. I mean, you're just plugging in. It's not like it's not a good way to charge, but a good way to bill people for the electric. And the conversation always comes around to, well, it's not that much, and it's not. He has his own cord for his. It was a Tesla, actually. It was a very nice white little Tesla, and he just plugged it into. We've got a couple outlets on the front of the house, and he plugged them in there, and he was fine. I don't know how much charge he got because he got here about, I don't know, 6:00 or so, a little bit after. 6:00 is the cutoff for me. And it has to do with the fact that we get up about 4:30 every morning. So I'm not going to be up till 10 or 11 o'clock at night waiting on somebody to come in. So he comes in and he's, he says it may get about 12 hours of charge. And I said, yeah, that's fine. And I'm having the conversation with Mr. Holstein. How do I bill this? So I'm trying to look up, and I even had a little conversation on the Telegram groups about it. And I looked up, and our actual electric bill doesn't tell you the exact price per kilowatt hour. You have to go through all of the dumb math, which is basic math, but it's still a hassle to take, how much you used in the month and do the math on, how much they're billing you for. And don't forget to subtract out all the fees, or do you count the fees? And what I wanted to do, and it's been about a year I talked about doing this with Mr. Holstein, was getting one of those charging stations. And some of them are really expensive, but you can get, it wouldn't necessarily be the whole housing, but you get the meter and I don't know if you call it a handle. I don't know what the language is for the charge, because if it was a gas pump, it'd be the handle and the pump and all that stuff. And you can mount that on your own pole, and you hook it up. And I don't know if you have to have a 50 amp service, but you can use a 50 amp service and all that. And I thought about doing that, and we kind of thought, well, we don't really have that much demand for it. But then you get into the thought of, well, if we have it, then we can say we have a charging station. Then comes, how do you bill for it? This guy that stayed with us, I didn't charge him extra. The best I could figure, it was going to be about $5 worth of electric. But a switch maybe. There's there's ways to do it. The thing that I want to do, Hunter, is there, and I have to go back in my notes. I have to dig through my piles of notes online and places that I've put it. There is a way that you can have a service connected to an app. And let's say that you, Hunter, you're the one that has the electric vehicle, and you come up to this. I'm going to call it a pump just for the ease of the conversation. This pump, electric vehicle charging pump. You plug in, you code in your phone in this app, and then you pay through the app, and then the app pays me. So I know it's out there. I've seen it. I just can't remember, and I can't find my notes for it. But I did take a picture, and I wanted to share it here today. But this laptop is acting so freaky. I don't want to toy around with it at all to try to bring it up and share it, because if it's a resource issue, I don't want to lock the computer up. I took a picture in the city of South Charleston. They have these charging stations that you pay at that charging station to charge your vehicle. I took a picture of one of them, and so I have the name off of it, the brand name off of it. And I think there's an app that goes with it. I think I saw that in the iPhone App Store. That's what I want to do. And partially because they're going to have to pay for the electric. Plus, it gives me a clean document for my taxes. I don't have to try to figure anything out. I don't have to try to estimate. I don't have to increase my rates to cover that. And I don't have to rationalize, well, I'm charging, I'm not charging someone to I'm not billing someone to charge their electric vehicle for free, but the guy that has a gas or diesel vehicle that stays here doesn't get $5 worth of gas or diesel. Is that making sense? I just figure out what a full charge on a Tesla would cost on your electric bill, double that, and make that Fiat EV surcharge. Oh, flat EV supercharge. Simple, headache-free, cheap. Josh, that yes and no. That's what I was. I can't to try to. The math on my electric bill is stupid, and trying to calculate that with, or I'd have to call the electric company, which I guess I could do. But if I have a charging station, first off, I can write it off, or percentage of it off on the taxes, and it gives me a clean statement for my taxes. So I can say in the tax year 2023, I got $100 in payments for electricity, and that electricity cost me $75 or whatever. And then that tax math is easy. You don't sell gas, you sell power, additional charge for convenience. Yes, but I don't give gas either. I don't have the option. I don't offer the option of when you come, I've got $5 of gasoline sitting here for you. So I'm just trying to say, I don't offer, if I look at it as an upsell, if that's what you're saying, if it's an upsell, I don't offer that in gasoline, but I also either would have to bill it through Airbnb, in this case, the guy that came over the weekend, and they're going to take a cut of that. Or I'm going to have to try to do it on the QT and hope that Airbnb doesn't figure it out. And because if the guy was to report me to Airbnb or something, I could lose the contract or the ability to use them. You have to be careful how you communicate offline when people book through Airbnb. It's just one of those little hassles that you put up with. So if their tech support, or it goes through our conversations, which they have the right to do, and that's part of the terms of service. And plus it's a protection for me, so that if somebody says I asked her for X and she didn't provide it, I can say, no, he didn't. Here, look, here's the conversation history. Anyway, what I want to do is offer this. I want to offer this. Plus, if I've got the pole or the pump or whatever you call it can go on a map and people who aren't staying with me can come and do it. So I make $1 off of every, I don't know how much. I mean, I don't know. Let's say it's a $10 charge and it's actually $5 and I've made, $5. I get it. Try processing livestock and having to be calculated. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. I know. I know. It's hard. I'm talking and you're typing. And so that's hard to sometimes to get that you understand what I'm saying and I understand what you're saying, but yeah, yeah. Hunter says, "Did my taxes? They need a box that reads hell. I don't know." Um, yeah, I agree. Except they'd say, "Well, since you don't know, here, pay extra $100." Um, I don't, I don't really sell power either. The charges for the convenience. Yeah, I- it's just I kind of I don't care what kind of vehicle you drive. The problem I see, and this is kind of a little rabbit hole trail will go off. The more we push people towards electric vehicles, whether you really believe that they're saving the planet or not, because honestly, the materials it takes to make them, and then the plastics, the copper, the glass, all the plastics, the leathers, the rubber, all that stuff, none of that changes. None of that changes. It's still being made. But the more we cut back on the fossil fuels, the higher the prices of these other things are going to be because the materials to make them are going to be limited. So those of us who drive traditional vehicles, internal combustion engine vehicles, are going to pay more because they're not pumping as much oil to make enough gas. So the gas prices are necessarily going to go up. But the electric vehicles are still requiring the fossil fuels to create the electricity. And even your solar panels are not without the fossil fuels. It takes fossil fuels to make those things, the rubbers and the plastics and the chemicals and all the things we keep talking about we're going to get rid of. It takes all of those to make them. But anyway, I want to be able to say, to promote, I have an electric vehicle charger available for my guests instead of just plugging into my outlets. Um, Plus, like I said, I can end up on a map of electric vehicle charger stations, and then other people will come and use it, and then that will promote the B&B a little bit as they're standing around twiddling their thumbs while they charge. I don't know how long it takes to charge. I know there's like 3 different levels now. The initial level that all the first generation cars had, and then there's like 2 more since then, and they've numbered them 2 and 3, and yes, they draw more the faster they charge, but they also charge faster. But you're still going to be sitting there for a long time. It's not like me pumping gas in my truck at Kroger's. I mean, it took me, 4 or 5 minutes and I was done. So, but anyway, that poor guy, I don't know how much of a charge he got because he went back out, which is fine. I don't have any problem with that. And my guests, they're free to go out and eat and come back in. But he went out and it was Saturday night. Of course, Friday was St. Patrick's Day, so you still got all that celebration going on. And he asked me about going into Charleston, and I said, well, it's Saturday night, and after St. Patrick's Day, there's probably some good music going on downtown. And he didn't come back in till about 1:30. And the reason I know that's because we have a Ring doorbell, and it chimes off and it wakes me up, and I'm looking at my phone app and seeing him back his vehicle in. So I knew what time to come in. And he was wanting to get up at 6, but he didn't get up till 7. So even then, he only got about 5 hours of charge on that car. and he was on his way to Indianapolis. So I don't know how much he got on a 5-hour charge, but he I have to go. It's too loud here. See you later. Oh, I'm sorry. I hope it wasn't me that was being too loud, Hunter. I try not to be. Maybe it was the environment you were in. But I'm glad you came. If you're already gone, then I'm sorry. I'm glad you came. I may see you on the Telegram. That lithium mining is arguably way more damaging to the environment, Renegade says. Yes, I agree. I have seen some of that information myself. And so without getting too political, because I can do that and I love to do that. I try not to do that too much. We are farming out the destruction of the environment and claiming that we're above it all. The United States has a lot of flaws, but we also have a lot of rules. And the mining is not perfect. Strip mining, deep mining, doesn't matter what it is. It's all pulling things out of the earth. And we've been doing it since man invented tools, from the time they started making copper and tin and whatever. I don't know. I'm not that much into history. They've been digging this stuff out. Copper mines have been killing people for thousands of years. Hunter was working on a ladder. Oh, okay. Don't want him to fall. Or even stumble. My dad, oh my gosh. This has been many, many, many years ago. Where was I living? I think I was living down Dunbar. I think. I can't remember where I was, but my dad was on a ladder on the side of his truck because Dad used to drive a truck. And he was at this particular time, he was driving a tanker, and for whatever reason, and he was here at home in the shop yard doing something with the truck, and he was on the ladder, and he slipped, and he banged his face on one of the rungs and busted his teeth out. I mean, he ended up getting them all removed because they just busted him really bad. And then he ended up with dentures, like within a few days or weeks after his mouth healed up. I mean, it was bad. So yeah, ladders, not only just them tipping over, you falling off, or them sliding, they're just, even if they're stationary and you're just, step ladder kind of thing, it can be dangerous. So yeah, be good, Hunter. But yeah, our strip and some of my comments relating to strip mines in the United States is because my dad worked on a strip mine too. He worked and he had to do reclamation work. It was mandated reclamation work. And no, it didn't go back exactly. You can't dig a hole to bury a cat and put the dirt back exactly the way it was. So a strip mine is just a big hole. But there are environmental regulations in the United States, like the government or lump the government. There are regulations. And we require the restoration of that land as best as you can do. They don't do that in these other countries where these lithium mines are. They don't. They leave the pit, and whatever Mother Nature does with it, Mother Nature does with it. There's no reclamation process that I'm aware of. Now I may be wrong, but as far as I know, there's no reclamation process. So we're just trading one bad habit for another. We're trading OxyContin for tramadol. I mean, it's just as bad, but in a different way. And people don't. I don't understand it because I get it. I can see that all of these things are interconnected, and we can try to say we're going to do away with fossil fuels, including oil, but the fact is that we still have rubber tires. We still have rubber bumpers. We still have plastics, fiberglasses. All these things require these chemicals that people say they want to do without. And we've got to shut down this chemical company, and we've got to do. You don't have a clue what you're talking about. And the cost of shipping this stuff back and forth doesn't. I'm not sure that there are solar powered ships carrying these cars across the oceans. I, people don't see how this stuff, and it can get overwhelming to think it all through, but You got to think about this stuff. You know, we're importing natural gas from other countries. Well, at one time we were importing natural gas into New England, and I'm thinking, well, how much diesel is being used to bring that over? We could be drilling in our own backyard. And yeah, I've seen some of the drills, and those uh, drill pads and sites are awful. They can be awful. EV drivers usually also like to buy premium coffee while they wait. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. He had Keurig. He had Keurig, but he drank more milk. He ate cereal. It was strange. He was in the military, and he is going to end up in Kuwait in May. He said he was on his way to Indiana. Uh, I can't tell all of it, but he was on his way to Indiana, and then by the middle of May, he would be in Kuwait. And I had forgotten, and I mentioned this in church. I had forgotten that we still have soldiers overseas and in Kuwait and stuff. Regardless of your position on it, that's not for today. Um, they're still over there. 20 years at least. I remember when the first George Bush and Operation Desert Storm and Desert Thunder and all that stuff. I remember where I was at when that invasion started. The one. Well, some of you guys won't remember, but it was funny in the ironic way because the news media, the 24-hour news media, was was there on the ground, so it meant they knew ahead of time, so that they could get staged filming some of this stuff. Crazy. There was a time when the military kept stuff secret. Hunter was working on a ladder. We're upselling a new product for profit while using the old product we demonized to make the new one. Yeah, you're right. We agree on a lot of stuff, Renegade. It makes people invested in the manufacturing and mining of these things a lot of money. Yeah, and in the process of I'm trying to think of a polite way to say this because I don't like to be nasty, but there are a lot of 401ks and retirement plans invested in some of these things that we're demonizing. People put their money in because we don't have pension programs anymore like we used to, and people put a lot of their retirement money in these 401ks and retirement programs, and they turn around and invest in some of these companies and that extractive industries, if you want to go, chemical industries and things, and then we badmouth them and drive their shares down. And these people who depend on it for retirement, so that they're not dependent on the government for the retirement, see their money go in a crapper. The more we demonize power companies, for example, a lot of people have retirement programs that buy stock in the utilities, and as we demonize these utilities and try to shut them down and protest them and blow things up, you're destroying people's retirements. And whether we agree, and it's kind of like, we left DirecTV and we're on Sling TV right now because of some of the things that DirecTV supports. And there may very well be people with, stock in DirecTV. And if enough people leave, then people suffer as their stock falls. It gets into this really, if you really tried to think it all through, your brain would blow up because everything is interconnected. And I really can't buy the idea that there is a select group of people running the world government. But then I see some stuff that makes me think, yeah, I think maybe they are. Don't just have faith, it'll all be there. Oh, wait a minute. Definitely would be a bit concerned about having too much 401k invested in a lot of industry right now, especially with the banking situation, knowing what you're invested in. Just don't have faith it'll all be there. No, yeah, you're right. Diversification is important. Follow the money, yeah. But sometimes it's hard to follow the money. You look at the mess over in Ukraine and China and the connections that people are trying to I say trying because I don't know that they're 100% made, but trying to make to the current administration here in the United States. And I mean, not just the president, but Congress as well. And all that tangle. How in the world do you untangle all of that? I mean, it's just crazy. And we could waste a lot of time doing that. But my thing is diversification is important in all things. We like to say it about food and drink. Moderation is the key. Well, moderation in your portfolios is key too, and not so much moderation in your risks, moderate risk or not, but how don't buy too much of one thing. Spread the love. Buy some Bitcoin. Send me some sats. Send me some sats. Darn it. Billy, shoot, I can't think of his name. Permaculture pimp daddy. He says, tip a pimp on his fountain podcast. I couldn't get away with saying something. If I said something like that, it'd be just, it'd be terrible. But Bonds, that's their name, Bonds, Billy Bonds. He says, tip a pimp. I like to listen to him. He gets off the edge a little bit, but on some stuff, but I do like to listen to him. Oh, thumbs up. Yeah, everybody thumbs up. Hit that like and thumbs up. And I almost said something. Yeah, Billy Bond. Almost said something very not complimentary. Almost, well, I'll say it, but I don't usually use this language. Boost a bitch. How's that? Oh, no, I don't want to say that. I don't want to say that. That's not. Tip a Holstein, but not a cow. Ah, there you go. Tip a Holstein. That's funny. Can you tip this cow? I mean, I'm not a tiny girl anymore. I was small many years ago, but I'm not anymore. Life has things for people. Oh my gosh, I'm so off track. What was I going to get into? Oh, I talked about the Tesla guy and the charger. I really do want to do that. I really do want to do that. I'm going to try to find a way to do that. But I've got to find my notes on it. I've got to find the notes on it. Still got the hip camp listing. I haven't tinkered with it. See, like with Airbnb, when I first got started with it, I had a gentleman from Australia that would help me out every now and again. And his name also was Robin, and it was kind of funny. But when I first got started, and I had some photos up, and I went to some of the forums. Hi, Ronaldo. Hi, Ronaldo. Don't you giggle at me. I know what you were giggling at. You be good. He made some suggestions about the photos and the staging and stuff for the rooms and stuff. And I'm not one of the high dollar fancy Airbnbs, and I host out of my home, so it's the house. It's not a separate unit. It's a room in my home, shared bathroom, and I fix your breakfast and all that stuff. But anyway, the hip camp, I haven't fooled with it very much except to set up the account. And I don't have the tent set up. They denied me for the tent setup, but I still have like the camper van thing. But I haven't gone in there with Airbnb. If you went you could goose the algorithm a little bit by going in, every day and making a minor change. And so I could go in and I could just change the spelling of something and then go back, or change a word and then go back. And I could goose it a little bit because it showed activities. I don't know if it's the same with HipCamp, and I really haven't had an opportunity to spend a lot of time on it. Bye, Josh. Thank you so much. Going to the salt mines. Better than the copper mine. But I do, I wanna look at that a little more and tweak that a little bit. I don't know if that if I, um, hookup for that would be good or not. That would be one that, Brian would probably know better if I had a 50 amp plug for the hip camp for the guys in the camper vans, if that would be a good draw for them. I didn't get my chickens yet. My chickens, my chicks, and my ducklings. That was supposed to have happened on Monday. It did not happen on Monday because of the big thing that has given me the headache, and it took me all this time to get to it. And poor little Josh is gone, and he was a big player in the Telegram group. Comes back around to the church. And some of you guys have followed some of my stuff, and you know that my little church, my little Methodist church here in Diamond, is struggling. We're struggling with the same thing that a lot of churches in the nation are struggling with, not just because of the Rona virus and the lockdowns, but that didn't help things. Aging congregation, no succession planning, no building planning, and now the church is really kind of at a crossroads. We're either going to close or we're going to build, and I'm fighting to keep it open. And I'm fighting to keep it open, because I believe that that's part of a calling that I have, is to not necessarily become like an evangelist pastor kind of thing, but I have a role. I have a role in the church, and I have, whether it's this particular church, but I have a calling on me to keep the buildings open, to keep the doors of the church open. So I've been filling in our pastor that was assigned to us. He's older. He was assigned multiple churches because we don't have enough pastors to go around to all of the churches. And he has struggled with some health issues himself. So he had to back off a lot. Well, so I'm filling in. I'm doing the services except for when we have communion Sunday, and he does the communion and stuff because I'm not authorized to do that. But the heater has gone out in the fellowship hall, and while that normally wouldn't be a great big deal, we've been having morning Bible study on Wednesdays in the fellowship hall. And we call it Bibles and Brunch. We offer lunch and all this other stuff, and we've been doing videos. And there's no we need the heater. Obviously, we need the heater. So the heater has acted up. The husband used to work for a plumbing and heating place. That was before we met. We've known each other 24 years, been married 22. So that's been a quarter century ago that he worked for the HVAC place. He looked at it. He thought it was the board, the circuit board. So we ordered a circuit board. That's part of our offering to the church. We paid for it. So, we don't want to hit the church for this because they don't have the money. And so we paid for the circuit board, and a friend of his was supposed to put it in last week. And so I texted him. I had his number. I texted him. I said, "This is who I am. And, when you're ready, let me know. I'll meet you at the church." Didn't hear anything. Didn't hear anything all week. And I wasn't pestering him. I think I sent him like 3 messages on the phone. Then on Monday, I sent a message really early, Monday, yesterday, at like 6:30 in the morning. Because I'm thinking, I know how Mr. Holstein works, and this guy works similar hours. And so he should be up by now. I need to know, are you going to be there, or do I need to find somebody else? So I get a phone call almost immediately. Talk to the guy. Yep, I'll be there this evening after I get off. No problem. You live where? Yep, it's the church in that town. Yep. I'll call you when I'm on my way. And then nothing. Nothing. So I went on over to the church, and I opened the panel because I'd watched Mr. Holstein do it. I turned the electric off to the unit, and I opened the panel, and the pilot light's still going. And so I knew it wasn't the pilot light. There's still gas flowing, and so I took the old circuit board out. I took a picture of the old circuit board, and I took the old circuit board out. I put the new circuit board in, and I put everything back in together exactly the way it was on the old ones. Had the old one over here. There's an emergency kill switch kind of thing that sits behind the panel so that when the panel's open, the unit shuts off. And you have to hold that in to start it. I had already gone to the thermostat. I had backed the thermostat down. The temperature in the room was 50, and I backed the thermostat down to 49 so that it wouldn't automatically kick in. Because what I needed to know was whether the fan was going to kick on, because the fan would not shut off. The fan stayed on regardless of what we did. As soon as it's powered up, the fan was on, which it shouldn't be. The burner should kick on and heat the air in the box thing, and then the fan kicks on to blow the air out, so the hot air out. So I switched out that circuit board. I had already backed off the thermostat, and I had my hand on the kill switch thingy, and I flipped the power on because it's all right there close, and the fan kicked straight on. Didn't fix it at all. So I have this headache partially because of that stress. I didn't sleep well. I haven't slept well for a while over it because I got to get it fixed, and we just don't have a lot of money at the church. And it's going to cost a lot of money for somebody to come out and just look at it. And this guy promised he would do it, and he backed out. And that's one of the reasons I have a lot of problem with people, is because they make promises they don't keep. Just tell me no. Just tell me no. Don't do this stupid stuff. It's like going out on a date and the guy not calling you back. Just tell me no straight up. Don't play around. I can't do it. Just say I can't do it, and be done with it. But so I've been worried about that. Well, I posted in Toolman Tim's Telegram, say that 3 times, this morning, a picture of the old circuit board, a picture of the new circuit board, and a statement that, guys, I got tired of waiting, and I just did it myself, and it didn't work. And now I just don't know what to do. And those, bless their hearts, those guys have spent out all morning, I kid you not, a couple of hours this morning from about 6:30, and I had to, and they were still talking about 9:15 about the different things that could be, asking this, asking that. Is it this? Is it that? Could she try this? Could she try that? And I'm going, I don't know how. I wasn't trained to do this. The only thing I did was switch out professional ghosting. Yeah, Carla. Yeah. Professional. Hi, Carla, by the way. Hello. Good to see you. I'm going, I don't know how to, the only reason I switched out that circuit board is I've seen them on computers. I've watched the husband do certain things. And so I got up the nerve and I did it because, once I sit there and looked at it, I knew it wasn't a challenging job to do as long as I got all the parts in the same way, all the wires in exactly the same. And I had taken that picture and they were to the teeny tiniest measurement, exact. And it's still the same thing. So I have copied and pasted about 75% of that conversation out of Telegram. It took me a few minutes to figure that one out, and got it pasted into a notepad document to rip out all that formatting and stuff. And I'm going to try. I don't know. I'm going to try to show it to somebody. We just don't have the money to pay for a new unit, and we don't have the money to pay for someone to spend 8 hours tinkering around with it. So I don't know what I'm going to do there. And I'm a big believer in God, and I believe that He is going to take care of this one way or another. It's just, I was talking in church in the service Sunday that we can't see. Bob, quit that. Bob, the dog's chewing on his leg. He's allergic to poultry, and he goes out and he gets into the cat food and stuff, and it always has poultry, and it makes him itch. So anyway, I'm a big believer in the Lord, and every time that we've had these challenges, and I've said, God, I just don't know what to do now. There's been a positive response. And it came to me this morning. Now, this doesn't solve the heater issue, but it does help with the Bible study because I think we need to have activity in the church. There are some rooms. You'd have to know how the church is set up. The original church had a basement. In the basement, there were 5 classrooms, and nobody uses those rooms in the basement. And they built on the fellowship hall on the back, which is almost the same square footage as the church itself. And that fellowship hall is where that heater is that's not working. But I'm going to go over this afternoon, and I'm going to check the temperature in the old rooms in the basement of the church and see what the temperature is in there, and see if I can't just have a Bible study in that room while we're waiting for this heater to get fixed. Because I really believe that this church, that there has to be, even if it's just a trickle of water in the middle of a freeze, there has to be a little bit of activity in that building, or we're just going to come apart. And so we've already missed two Bible studies. The sanctuary itself is warm. The heat for the sanctuary is fine. These are different units. So I'm going over there this afternoon, and I'm going to check that. But so what happens is in today's conversation, things here at Holstein House, and the reason for these live chats and the discussion and things that I want to have here is being taken over by this thing with the church, and that's not a bad thing or a good thing. I don't mean it that way. It's just that a lot of stuff here at Holstein House is on hold because I'm dealing with this thing with the church, and I don't have a lot of people to lean on. Mr. Holstein is helping when he can, and right now his availability to work on this is very restricted. So I was hoping to get it done, but it just may not happen. So if the rooms are warm enough downstairs in the basement, then we can go ahead and have our Bible study there. We're doing some films on Easter, and we're going to finish up. Is it next week? I think it's next week. No, the week after next, with a screening of the Passion of Christ, the one that Mel Gibson directed, the really hard one to watch. And we need a dark area. Well, the sanctuary has the giant windows. There's no way I can do a film up there. The fellowship hall, I was able to cover the windows. They're really high. I don't know who designed that place, but I need a ladder to reach. I mean, they're way up. They're small windows, but they're way up there. And I've managed to get them covered so that we can watch these films on, we've been watching them on Easter, and we're supposed to be doing a series on the 6 miracles of Easter right now, but we haven't been able to because the fellowship hall is too cold. There's no heat. So I'm going to check that this evening or this afternoon, and if it is, I'm going to give it a good cleaning because it's dusty and unused. It's just that the dust that settles in a room that's not used. It's that kind of thing. So I'm going to go over and give it a good clean, get a hold of one of the other ladies, and see if she can come over and help me with that. And because we do coffee and stuff, and we just need to do it. We just need to do it. So I'm sorry, you guys, if I've been disappointing you. I have plans. I'm trying to do things, and but I kind of my I need to help take care of the church right now for this stuff, and that's a big thing to me. It's a big thing to me, and it'll all work out. It'll all work out. If it's the Lord's will that our church closes, it's going to close. But I think in the meantime, it's important to show people that this is worth fighting for. And we do have some members who are still sending in their offerings, and we do have some members that are still attending. It's just not enough to keep the church utilities paid and things. So, it is important to reach the individuals in the church. But if we're going to have a sanctuary, if we're going to have a place to fellowship, and I believe that you need to fellowship, I believe you need that in-person touch, just like you need to go to these festivals every now and again. And we like to talk about in the Self-Reliance group that every now and again you need to go to the Self-Reliance Festival, or this group's festival, or this prepper festival, or this organization. We need to do that in our spiritual lives too. You can't always stay by yourself. We need each other, and we're commanded, actually, if you're a follower of Christ, like I am, we're commanded to do this, to meet together. So anyways, I'll get off that little bit of soapbox. It's coming up really quick on an hour, and I want to hit that today. Carla, I did see you. I thank you for stopping in. Renegade, Josh, I thank you. Ronaldo, I thank you. Hunter, I thank you. If you get to see the replay on this or the tail end of it or whatever, it's been really fun. I really appreciate your guys' support over in that Telegram chat on this issue with the church, and I'm going to keep you posted on that. But I really don't want to hijack Tim's channel anymore, so I'm probably going to just kind of mention it in his, and then come back to the Holstein House chat and follow that up, because I know he says it's no big deal, but I just hate to hijack somebody's chat that way. So I'm going to go now. I appreciate you guys so much. Check out robinholstein.com for to reach the Airbnb or direct book. Obviously Robin Holstein here on YouTube. The Holstein House podcast on fountain.fm. And I've got footprints everywhere. So thank you a lot again, and I will see you on Friday. Friday live and unscripted.
There you have it.
Be back.
Post your comments, do all that boosting, liking, sharing, thumbs up, and stuff that helps spread the word and poke the algorithms. Follow me on most of the big social media platforms, and look for my name, Robin Holstein, or Holstein House. Till next time, bye-bye.